with it comes a flurry of market jitters, policy moves, and geopolitical power plays that could reshape economies far beyond today's headlines. From Wall Street's rocky start to the month, to a landmark ruling in the Google antitrust case, to rising trade tensions between Washington and New Delhi, and a surge of healthcare investments in the Gulf, there's a lot to unpack. Welcome to Finance Pulse, and here are the top headlines of the day. September lived up to its reputation as a difficult month for equities. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 249 points, or just over 0.5%, closing at 45,295. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq also slipped, dragged lower by big-name tech stocks. Nvidia lost about 2%, while Amazon and Apple shed close to 1% each. Rising bond yields added to the unease, while a recent court ruling on Donald Trump's tariffs introduced another layer of uncertainty. A federal appeals court ruled that most of Trump's global levies were illegal, saying only Congress can impose sweeping tariffs. Trump has vowed to appeal to the Supreme Court, calling the decision highly partisan. Investors caught between trade disputes and profit-taking after a long summer rally chose to move cautiously. Over in the tech world, Google scored a major legal win. A Washington, D.C. judge ruled that the company will not be forced to sell off Chrome, calling divestment a poor fit in the landmark antitrust case. But Google will have to share key data that helps cement its search dominance. The decision sent Google stock soaring more than 8% in after-hours trading, while Apple also benefited, rising more than 3%. The ruling allows Google to continue paying Apple billions of dollars annually to keep Google Search as the default on iPhones and Siri, preserving one of the most lucrative deals in Silicon Valley. Meanwhile, Donald Trump doubled down on his tough stance toward India. Just a week after hiking tariffs on Indian imports to 50%, punishment for New Delhi's continued purchases of Russian oil, Trump told reporters he has no plans to roll them back. He stressed that while the US maintains friendly ties with India, the trade relationship remains unbalanced, citing India's own high tariffs. Here in the region, healthcare has become a hotspot for investment. A new report from JLL shows that Saudi Arabia and the UAE accounted for nearly 92% of all healthcare transactions in the Gulf over the past 4 years. The UAE led with 198 deals, closely followed by Saudi Arabia with 170, underscoring both countries' aggressive push to modernize healthcare systems and attract private capital. Out of nearly 400 deals tracked in the GCC since 2021, these two markets have clearly dominated, reflecting both demand from growing population and government efforts to diversify their economies beyond oil. And now to our deep dive. A geopolitical shift unfolding on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Tianjin. What made headlines wasn't just the gathering of world leaders, but the warmth on display between Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping. Smiling, laughing, even clasping hands. In a show of camaraderie, it was a sharp contrast to the hostility that has defined India-China relations since their bloody border clashes in 2020. Observers say the timing was no coincidence. Just days earlier, Donald Trump had slapped India with sweeping 50% tariffs, among the harshest penalties yet against a US partner. In New Delhi, the shock was palpable. Washington, once viewed as a steadfast ally, now appears volatile, even adversarial. And China wasted no time in seizing the opportunity. For Beijing, Modi's visit marked a chance to reset ties. Both sides agreed to stabilize their disputed border and reopen economic channels, signaling a potential thaw after years of mistrust. For India, the embrace of China alongside Russian President Vladimir Putin, who was also present, sends a clear message. If Washington continues to weaponize trade, New Delhi has other options. In Washington, the optics did not go unnoticed. Trump lashed out at Modi's display of friendship with Xi, while his trade advisor Peter Navarro openly mocked India's decision to cozy up to Beijing. Yet for many analysts, this is less about short-term theatrics and more about a long-term geopolitical realignment. The tariffs that were meant to punish India may instead push it closer to China, creating new alliances that could reshape the balance of power in Asia. That's all in Finance Pulse for today. Follow the Finance 360 for more updates.